In this video, thanks to the Home Depot Seeds program, we're looking at the SprayMate Shower Max. No, it's not for taking a shower, although technically you could use it for that. It's actually a 4-gallon sprayer. And what's special about this sprayer is it's battery operated. So no more manual pumping. It also has wheels so you can transport it. It comes with a handle so you can pull it around. Plus, it converts to a backpack sprayer. And there's even more. So let's open the box. But first, a special thank you to all the subscribers who help keep this video commercial free. For the rest of the viewers, please consider joining the subscription team so that we can play these videos without commercial interruptions. Opening the box reveals an operations manual, shoulder strap, and our 6-foot coiled hose, which is translucent. This looks like it might be a hanging rack for maybe the hose and other accessories. We have a wand with a nozzle and a power adapter. There's also a screw and 2 nuts and 2 bolts. To remove the cardboard insert, it might be easier just to take off the caps. This one has the siphon that's attached to it. And now the cardboard lifts out much easier. And it reveals that there's a handle inside, the spray nozzle. It's a tube. Another piece of hardware that needs to be attached. It's plastic. We grab the tank by the handle. We lift out, and you see that it has wheels on it that enable you to roll it around. It sits up on its own. Of course, you could lay it down. You might be asking, but can I remove the tank from this frame? And I think the answer is going to be yes. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you pour in fertilizer and you want to clean this out, it might be a little bit easier just to separate the tank from the rest of the device with the handle and everything else. To show that it's a global product, measurements are both in liters and in gallons. What can you put in this spray tank? Insecticide, pesticide, fungicide, fertilizer, sealant, cleaner, and disinfectant. One more item I found while unpacking is a screen and a couple of O-rings. Some assembly is required. First thing you need to do is get the handle pulled, and there are 2 holes punched in at the bottom, 1 at the top, both sides. So you want to insert that here, but in order to do this properly, we're going to have to take off the tank. So again, it's just turning the bottom handle here until the tank releases. It's out of the way, so now it's just the trolley. And you're going to put the nut on this side, the bolt on the other, and you're going to pick either one of these 2 holes, depending on the height that you want for the handle. In my situation, I'm going to go with the upper hole because I don't really need a tall handle. So you insert it through the top, and if you find that difficult to get into, you can always unscrew this cap and just get it in between the plastic. Why was it easier the first time? There we go. And now make sure your holes are kind of aligned so that you can find them as you go down. We can drop our little cap here, and actually that might keep the tube from sliding while we do our alignment. So I'm looking, there's the hole. I don't think it's the first hole. Well, actually there's the first hole. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to push down until I get to the second hole because I want my handle to be a little bit shorter. I get my bolt and nut, insert it through here, catch it on the back side. And then I'm going to use a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. And that is now locked in place. Our next step involves the trolley holster and the little screw that came with the hardware kit. Take the trolley holster, take this opening, put it over the pole, slide down, and you want to be about maybe halfway up, and then you notice this little stud sticking out? That's where the screw is going to go. It's going to go right in that hole there. And the way you're going to orientate this is the trolley holster is going to be facing forward above the tank, which is going to be sitting there when we're done. So you want to make sure you have enough clearance so that it doesn't hit the tank, but that it's not too high up, that it's inconvenient. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that screw here and just tighten it ever so lightly so that it holds it in place. Note, the screw will not punch through the metal. It'll just tighten this in place, and that's all you want. To complete the assembly of the trolley, we need to grab the handle. Note that there is a hex side where the nut's going to attach, and then there is a round side for the bolt. And that's going to go at the top of the handle right here. You see there's an opening on this side and on that side. So there's no front or back to this handle. You just kind of put it in place. And if it does give you trouble, you can always take this off, drop this on top of the handle, and then slide this over. So that might make it a little easier for you to do. Once it's in, you write it down. And there, I think you can see the opening is aligned. So it's not all the way seated on the pole to get to that hole. So now we're going to take the bolt, insert the bolt through the back side, and then the nut's going to go on this side. Once the bolt catches the nut, you just tighten the bolt. The nut will be held in place, and you just want to make it snug so that nothing's loose. And of course, if we took off the collar, we now need to put that back into position and snug it up. With the handle, trolley holster, and pole attached, all that's left to do is attach the tank to the trolley. You simply turn that knob on the back, and you're done as far as using this for a roller. We still, of course, have to set up the mechanisms that go in here and the hoses and the nozzles, but this is the basic setup for the trolley. Now, if you want to use this as a backpack, then you need to remove this tank and attach the shoulder harness to it. To use as a backpack sprayer, you lay the unit on its side, you grab your harness, there's a clip, and you clip on to the bottom, which is a little hard because these clips are really, really stiff. So you're just going to have to clip on here, do the same to this side, and then you're going to go to the top, and there are 2 openings, and you're going to lace the belt through that, come back around, and then go through the buckle, and that's how you'll lace up each of the shoulder harnesses. So as you can see, we wrapped around the back side of the loop, came underneath the buckle, went underneath the center part of the buckle, and came out. And that gives you a nice tight fit that it's not going to move on you. Then you can adjust the harness by using this plastic strap. You can make it shorter by pulling through and doubling up. Or if you want to make the strap longer, you pull up on it, and that gives you more length. With the harnesses in place, we grab the backpack holster and place it over one of the openings. It actually only fits in one of the two openings, so it'll be easy to figure out which one is that. And it just drapes off to the side. Now the question I have is, can I have both worlds? Can I have the ability to have the harness already in place, use this with the trolley, and then when I need to, just break out and use the shoulder portion of it? We're going to find that out because that's the way I'm rigging this up. Now we get to the spray handle. This is where the manual totally fails us because it doesn't explain what that does, doesn't explain much about this, doesn't tell us that the battery is actually in the handle. This is your battery charger. Where does that plug in? Well, you actually go to the bottom of the handle, you pull out this gasket cover, and there's an opening there in the center for the power charger to go into. There's grease on this fitting, so be careful. Just really bad location for this to be in. 2, there isn't a power switch. This thing's always on. That's a lockout, and it's a piece of plastic. So as far as lockouts go, it's not the best one, but so the unit will always run. This switch is a flow indicator, and you can adjust the spray pattern by turning this nozzle. You can also, if you pull back on the chuck, you can actually take this out. It's supposed to be a quick release. And now you can put the wand in here, or if you have other accessories that you can purchase separately, you can attach those to this chuck. Oh, one more thing. There's even a light, which I'm not sure of the value of having a little LED light. When charging, you'll get a red indicator light on the wall wart and also on the bottom of the spray nozzle. While waiting for the unit to charge up, we take the hose and tank cap and place it inside the tank. This is what's going to draw up fluid, and we just tighten that in place. This has some grease on it, so try to avoid that. There are 2 O-rings on this, so looking at this kit that came with it, that's probably these 2 O-rings. That screen is actually at the bottom of the hose that we just inserted. So I'm not sure where the 2 little O-rings go into. The manual doesn't explain anything about the screen or the O-rings, which is a shame. So anyway, that assembles that portion of it. Then we come over here, and this is the filling cap. And you'll notice that there is a removable screen filter, which is great so that in case there are any impurities in your solution, that'll get filtered out. So it's easy to remove, so you can wash that. And this is actually where you're going to pour all your solutions into the tank. And then you have a cap that seals everything up. The coiled hose has 2 connections on it. One which has a valve to open and close. So what we're going to do is take the end that does not have a valve, and that's going to go to our cap and hose connection, and we just push it down, and then I want to make sure you see this. There's that lock, and you're going to push. Once it's in position, you should be able to push that closed so that it does not come off. So it literally clips into position. And now this end of it with the shutoff valve is what's going to go and attach to the nozzle gun. Once the unit finishes charging, you'll get a green LED status light on the wall wart, and on the spray gun itself, the red light just extinguishes. Finally, the spray gun is charged, and we're ready to attach the hose to it. So what you do is you push on this so that it allows it to slip on, and then you release, and the O-rings should create a seal for you. And it shouldn't, if you do it right, it shouldn't come off like that. So let's try this again. We push in, slide it all the way until it seats. Obviously, I'm not teaching you how to do it right. So let's try this one more time. Push in, slide on, go all the way until it seats. There. You see it's fully seated. So now if I pull on it, it shouldn't come off. And by the way, there's a little place here where you can tether the spray gun if you wanted to. According to the arrows, to turn this on, we go this way, which in most valves means that it's closed, but we're going to find out if this is actually correct. So the on position, you turn it clockwise. We take the nozzle gun out, we move up the little lock, and then we squeeze, and it should take a few seconds for it to prime. Not very impressive. Not liking the performance so far. Let's try something interesting. Let's turn the valve the way I think it should operate, which is if it's parallel with the hose, then it's open. And let's squeeze. It's not a miss, it's a stream, but it's better than before. Let's try adjusting it while we spray to see what we get. That's all the way one position. Really no change. So we give up with that. You would think that this indicator here would tell you that this is what's going to be operating, when in fact it's this one. And then to change, you turn it, and somehow, even though it's pointing down, this one's going to operate. So let's close off this one and see what pattern we get. And it's all the way seated. Let's squeeze. We get a mist. And I can turn it into a stream. It shoots a good 6 feet away. Very nice soft mist. And a quick turn gives you a stream. An easy 8 to 10 feet with that. And of course, if you wanted to, you could pull on the chuck, take this out, and now we can insert our wand. And now our wand can be used as a sprayer, and I believe it too has an adjustable head. So the advantage, of course, of the wand is that it gives you a few extra inches beyond the reach of the spray gun. I just now adjusted the spray nozzle so we get a stream, but you'll notice that it has to reprime. It's a decent amount of distance, probably 20 feet from where I'm at. And if you angle it up a little bit more, you can even get more distance. But again, it's a small stream. But now if I stop it, and you look at the hose, you see? The water pours out. So I'm wondering if there's a missing O-ring in this and air's getting into the line and allowing the water to go down. When you're done, set the lock into position, put it in the cradle, and now you're ready to either move it to a different location or get it into storage. Of course, if you're storing it away, make sure to drain out the solution so that you don't get damage if you're into freezing weather or if the solution tends to form particles as it degrades. So the best way is just to always empty out the tank, flush it, so that way when you go to use it again, it's clean and it's ready to take on your new solution without any cross-contamination. In its backpack configuration, obviously you can go anywhere you want to, and once it primes, you're able to spray again. Now, you'll notice that it doesn't drain when the storage unit is higher up than the gun. So if you're always going to be using it as a backpack, then this issue with air getting in the line probably won't be of much concern unless you raise it above the level. And there it goes. If the gun is higher than the water level, then the solution will go back into the tank. And now you'll just have to squeeze and reprime the line. After playing around with this for a few minutes, I notice that I can no longer change this nozzle to go into a stream. It is strictly a spray, and I can try turning it, but it doesn't seem to have any thread. And so I pulled it back all the way to the collar. Now watch what happens when I push the trigger in. You see the nozzle head goes out and gives me the soft spray. In further investigating this, I discovered that if you close this off too much, you can't recover from it, because then the unit doesn't allow you to actually make an adjustment. When you turn it, it just stays in place. So again, still a bad design, because while I can now get a stream, and I can come in here and make it soft, and then hopefully go back to a stream. If I tighten it too much, then it locks and you can only get a soft spray. So poor design. Also the fact that this drains back out, I don't like. There it goes. You just saw the bubbles. It's draining back out. Things that I like about the SprayMate Shower Max is the fact that it eliminates manually pumping the unit. It's a rechargeable battery. You can go from either shoulder mounted to moving it around on a trolley, which has its own handle, has a place to connect the wand to, so all your accessories can travel with you. Things I don't like about this unit is that if the gun is above the tank, it's going to back drain into the tank, so you'll have to reprime each time. The instructions that come with the unit aren't all that great. There's no on and off for the unit itself. They got this little piece of plastic here that prevents you from squeezing the trigger when it's up against it, but because it's just a little thing that flops in and out, it's really not an off and on device. There's no way to de-energize the unit itself, and actually you don't even have access to the batteries. Once these batteries go, you end up throwing this whole unit away unless you decide to see if you can actually buy a replacement spray nozzle. Plugging in your power source into here is kind of awkward. It's just in a weird place. And, you know, so now do I disengage all this so that I can plug back in and charge the unit, or do I leave this in? If I disengage it, then there's a piece sticking out that's full of grease to help it seal, and that gets on you when you make that contact. So, but the really thing that's really bugging me a lot is the fact that we saw initially that we could spray wide and narrow with the nozzle that it came with, but after using it for a little bit, that was no longer the case. It would only spray wide and it would not take any adjustments. So, poor quality. The LED light is meaningless. I don't see why anybody would use it. I'm not too sure why this lower nozzle is here. It can't be adjusted. The controls are confusing. They're certainly not logical. I mean, you can see here it tells you to turn clockwise for the on position, but obviously this is the on position. So anyway, for this reason, or for these reasons, I really can't recommend this tool. I had a lot of hopes for it. Again, I like the idea of the flexibility of being able to tote this around or put it on your shoulder, and the fact that you can put in a multitude of different chemicals into it and just all you have to do is clean in between sounded great. But if you can't adjust your spray, then what's this good for? I mean, at this point, the only way to really use this unit is to attach the wand and make my spray adjustments with the nozzle tip. But if I just wanted to use the spray gun itself, this, and I do like the fact that the chuck lets you do a quick change. That's kind of nice, but this is not very good because you can't adjust it anymore. Overall, I'm disappointed because I really had high hopes for this device. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team. And as always, thank you so much for watching.